Like this is what's going to happen. This is what the internal sources are saying. This is what we predict. And yeah, it pays to research stuff and to to have a much better understanding. Well, I like research a lot, and I research many different topics. Doing a lot of research or reading from many sources on different topics is like you never know where this research might pay off. It's like archaeologist that has been researching something, and he walks into the desert and finds pots of gold, you know, uh, or uh, or miners that have like they do research land or mining research using radars or uh, you find massive treasures often. And I was watching some of the movies, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and yeah, when you see that he's always got notebooks, and he in his notebooks he has like stuff written or really copies of very old literature that was written thousands of years ago. And he just goes through. It's amazing how much of this stuff that many people just ignore, just walk by right off off of it. It's true, and there is uh, it pays off in a huge way sometimes. Well, I like ufology. I also like archaeology. I like reading all these very obscure branches in mathematics, stuff that I don't know. The lighting here is not that great, so I kind of checking out my teeth too. But the future Afghanistan, I don't think Afghanistan is going to disintegrate because these two major groups, Taliban and the Shia Fatimiyun, they're too integrated. They have too much history, and uh, I think something will work out. I saw a video that they were negotiating with each other. Well, the Taliban was negotiating with their own representative, but the Shia or the northern part, they were negotiating using the puppet regime's reps. But these people, they're just gonna change colors or their uniform, and then we'll see. They'll become another version of Ayatollah Rouhani, like how we have all these liberals, but they are also Ayatollahs, and but they everybody in Iran knows who they are. Uh, they are the same as Ashraf Ghani or the puppet regime. They are the liberals. They'll make a deal with anybody, with the United States. With, they just want the next juicy contract. They don't really represent the the military or real political force there. But I don't know what's the day when the new president Ayatollah Raisi is going to take over. I think it should be any day now. And well, when the Soviets left Afghanistan, they also left a huge mess, and their empire collapsed about a year later. I think maybe in United States. I don't know how the collapse will be here. I suspect with all the monies that they're printing, the collapse will take the form of maybe like in one day you wake up and you see that in the international currency markets, the US dollar has collapsed like 30%. And then the next day, maybe another 20%, something like that. Uh, is because that's what they use to hire all these idiots in all different countries in Syria or Lebanon or Afghanistan, pay them off, and then bring them to their club fed in Virginia or I don't know. Well, what if US currency collapsed 50%? Then what? They'll just print more of that same shit. Uh, if it collapses 50% against the uh, major other currencies like euro or Swiss franc, then it may still hold water with the weaker currencies like rupee or Iranian toman or I don't know. Uh, there is a middle class and also wealthy class in many of these countries like India, uh, like their investors they have benefited from all these uh, US foreign aid and military expenditures, and they are the most retarded people on the planet because the Americans themselves they know this stinks and their money stinks too, but these foreigners they are similar in their thinking like those guys who uh, kind of attach themselves to the tires of the airplane and they want to stay with this shit at all costs even though all their bones might get broken. Well, I met one of the British investor and I was giving them him ride and to the from the airport. This idiot had such a faith in US dollar, US bonds. I mean, when the Iraq war was happening, many people around the world were were wondering who buys these bonds. Who finances these guys to go on such military ventures? But when the Soviet Union had ended, uh, or after a while, like 1991, I went with my brother from Turkey. We went to Bulgaria. Bulgaria was a part of the Soviet bloc, and their money had collapsed. And so when I had dollars, I also had uh, travelers checks, but I was told that you cannot really cash these travelers checks in Bulgaria because there isn't much of the infrastructure, not too many money exchangers. It might be different now, be, being so long, but I cashed some of them and I took them to Bulgaria. I think it was Sofia. All around our hotel, there were all these people standing, Bulgarians, that they had gone to their bank and they had gotten probably their savings in their money. I forgot the name of their money, but it seemed that like if I took the dollars to the Bulgarian bank, I would get like 5, 10 units of their money. But these guys by the street corner were selling it 20 units to a dollar. And my brother was very persistent. He found some that he was selling them at 25 to a dollar. So there might come one of these days that because of hyperinflation, some shit like that will happen. I wonder how the U.S. bonds, 10-year treasuries, will be trading in the international markets. I kind of a few years ago I was thinking maybe like I would get into this business of helping foreign banks to cash their T-bills because they have sold so many of them to Chinese and Japanese. But I think Chinese are taking their T-bills and selling them to even more uh, desperate nations like African nations, giving them as loans to other countries or to I don't know, Nigeria or uh, places like that, and they these countries they will cash them with the U.S. Fed. Or the U.S. Fed comes around and buys whatever shit they had published. So any kind of thinking in that direction was kind of wasteful. But I think another thing that might happen is that as we get closer to major collapses, is that the bonds that are older, 10 year or 30 year, they will sell at the deeper discount. Discount could be as big as 20-30% in the international markets, not with the stupid Fed, but with the Chinese or the Japanese. They just want to dump them and take their loss and go do something else with the real money. But the the short-term maturity bonds like the year bond or or like a month bond or a daily bond, then the Fed will be more and more desperate to attract investors, and they'll start paying at much higher interest. Like I was kind of sitting and looking at the 1 day bonds and how if I could buy them and roll them over, I could make money. But I just don't trust these institutions or this money. It's all so synthetic and so fake. But when the major heart attack comes in for the dollar, uh, still some it will retain some value because there are many countries that are stupid little countries, and they have investors or politicians that are just like this stupid British guy has or the guys who were hanging from the wheels of the plane. They have such unquestioned faith in this decrepit empire that they that they'll accept the US dollar no matter what. Uh, a deep discount, whatever. This is US dollar. Well, if I'm in Granada or I'm in deep Amazon or places that there is vacuum of any kind of political power or the retarded puppet regime, there is a lot of them still around, and they just finance America some more. I don't know until another empire, maybe Iranian or Russian empire, comes and whacks them into kingdom come. Uh, I don't think many of these mini fascist states like Bahrain or Qatar or well, Afghanistan is gone within like a couple of weeks, but would these other puppet regimes last like a day or two? Maybe the Khalifa takes the plane. The place is it's gone. But we'll see. I think that the Iranian government or Russian government uh, should make an effort to collect war retribution for all the damages that the United States has done in Syria, in Lebanon, in Iraq, in Afghanistan, instigate wars in Iran that was very costly. We have the better military now, and also a look at the future uh, to prevent these guys from ever coming back, whether it's with weapons or naval blockades or anti-aircraft systems that can shoot anything in Mars. Uh, we need to think about future a little bit more. Well, thank you for being my YouTube channel, and my stuff is research. I don't think you can really find this material anywhere on the internet unless like you're talking in Farsi. You're like me and you can tap in directly to Farsi or Russian sources and understand what they're saying. This stuff is you might not believe it, but it's very special and it's very researched, and a lot of the predictions that are made about the future in Middle East and other countries have totally come true. You can look at my videos, not only psychic predictions, but also just regular videos about economy and other stuff. Please subscribe. Don't be shy to leave comments. And thank you for your patronage.